An executive board consists of a president, player A, and 3 vice presidents, players B, C, and D. For a motion to pass, it must have yes votes from 3 of the voting members, one of which must be the president's. Okay, the crucial words there that we're seeing are 3 of the voting members, and one of which must be the president, meaning A, right? Because A is the president right up here. So you got to have A and 2 others, in other words. A and 2 others passes something. Okay, so we want to find the Bonshoff power distribution. So they want the whole thing. They want the final fractions, like what portion of the power. In this situation, so this is a word problem situation. In this situation, how much of the power does each person have? That's the question. What percentage of the power? How do we do it? So step number 1 is we list all winning coalitions. So we list all winning coalitions. So let's do it. So let's start with all the ones with 2 players. So if you have 2 players, so I'm going to say you could have A and B, or A and C. Wait, hold on. How many does it take to win? 3. So forget about it, right? Let me back up. I'm not even going to do 2 players. Nobody could be a winner on a 2-player team. It takes 3. So let's go to 3 players. All those teams would be losing teams. We want to list all the winning teams, right? The winning coalitions. So 2-player teams are not winners. It takes 3 to win. So let's do the 3-player teams. A, B, C. A, B, D. Now let's be smart about this. You've got to have A, right? One of which must be A. So we have to have A. Every team that wins has to have A. So the question is, what are the other 2 players to make a 3-player team? We have B, C, and D. So you could have B and C, leaving out D. You could have B and D, or you could have C and D. Are you tracking with that? So do you see those are the different combinations that we could have? Those are the only 3-player teams that are going to be winning teams. Right? You got to have A, so they have to have A, and then they have to have 2 others, either BC or BD or CD. All right, so now let's go to the 4-player teams. And find out who's winning on these 4-player teams. Well, there's only one 4-player team. It's A, B, C, D. It's all 4 players. And that's certainly a winning team. If everybody votes for something, it's certainly going to pass unanimously. Now, let's go back, and we're going to find, so step 2 is to underline the critical players. Underline critical players. So how is somebody critical? Critical is if you're critical, if you drop out, then the team loses. So that's what it means to be critical. If you drop out, then the team loses. So let's go up and give it a try. One at a time. Here we go. If A drops out of this team, we're not doing this, right? This is gone. None of those were winning teams. But these are all these, and these. Those are the winning teams. 3 3-player teams and 1 4-player team are winning teams. So how about if A drops out of this team? does it become a losing team? That's what it means to be critical. You drop out, then the team loses. They had to have you. If you drop out, they lose. Well, yeah, that becomes a losing team because they've only got 2 players left. If A drops out, then they've only got B and C left. And remember, it takes 3 to be a winner. So, yeah, I'm going to underline A. A is critical, and likewise, so is B, and so is C. They're all critical because if any one of them drops out, the team only has 2 left and they lose. It takes 3 to win. Same thing here. All these are going to be underlined, aren't they? All these guys are critical on those teams. If any one of them drops out, the team loses. So those are all critical. You got to have them. Any of them drops out, the team loses. Now let's go to the 4-player team. What about here? What if A drops out of this team? And they've only got B, C, D left. Do they lose then? Yes, right? Because remember the rules. You got to have 3 members. You think, well, they got 3, they got B, C, D. Yeah, but one of them must be the president, meaning A. You got to have A. He's the president. You got to have 3 voting members, one of which must be A. So yeah, if A drops out, they're going to lose. So let me underline A. A is critical to that team. If A drops out of that team, it just says B, C, D, they're going to lose. He's critical. They got to have A. How about if B drops out of this team? Well, then they have A, C, D left. Is that still a winning team? If just B, remember, we're just dropping them out one at a time. If just B drops out, then they have A, C, D left. Does that become a losing team? No. No, they're still winning because they still have 3 members. A, C, D is 3 members, and they have the president. They have A, so they're still good to go. So what does that mean? Well, that means that B is not critical. Not critical. I'm not going to underline B because B is not critical. They don't have to have B to win. If B drops out, they're still okay. How about C? What if C drops out? Well, then they got A, B, D left. And they're okay. Right? Because they'll still have 3. If only C, remember we're just dropping them out one at a time. If just C drops out, they have A, B, D. And A, B, D doesn't lose. They're still a winning team because they got 3 members and they got A. So C is also not critical. Well, how about if D drops out? Well, if D drops out, oops, I'm doing the wrong thing there. If D drops out, they have A, B, C. And they're okay because they would have 3 members, which is enough, and one of them is A, so they're okay. So these 3 guys are not critical. Let me go back and put it back the way it was. So B, C, and D are not critical, but A is. A is the only critical member of that team. If A drops out of that 4-player team, they lose because they got to have A, the rules said. You got to have the president. But if any of the other 3 drop out, it doesn't matter. They're not critical, right? If any of the other 3, just one of the other 3 drops out, they still have 3 left, and they got A, so they're good. All right, so now that's step 2. We've underlined all the critical players. Now we're ready for step 3. Total critical players. What's the total of all the critical players? If you add all those up, there's 10 of them. We just add them up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times that critical people were critical. So now we can find the Bonshoff power for each of these players. So it's out of 10, out of 10, out of 10. Oh, there's 4 players, aren't there? Player 4. I guess I should just call them A, B, C, and D, huh? So let me go back here. Let's say A, B, C, and D. Oops, that was the wrong thing. So, all right, A, B, C, and D. So what's A's power? How many times was A critical? Let's look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. A was underlined 4 times. So 4 out of 10 times A was critical. How about B? How many times was B? 1, 2. just 2. Out of the 10 times people were critical, B was critical 2. C and D are also 2. If you look back, here's C, boom and boom, 2. And D, boom and boom, 2. Remember, none of these are underlined because they're not critical on that 4-player team. So there we go. There's the power breakdown. So what does that calculate out to be? You can do decimal or fraction. It doesn't matter. So looks like A has 40% of the power. B, C, and D each have 20% of the power. That's how the Bonhoeffer power breaks down for this word problem situation. With a president and 3 vice presidents, and a yes vote is the president plus 2 others. That gives the president 40% of the power, and the vice presidents each 20% of the power.